Well, he said it with a smile, but it's probably really the only way to say it. Nick Saban after the game to Kirby Smart, the national championship game. I got to be more specific. These two teams were playing so often these days. You guys kicked our ass in the fourth quarter. And Nick's right. And when you go back and look, it wasn't just the pick six. I mean, the pick six was an important play that sealed the game for Georgia. I mean, Alabama would have had to continue to get down the field and score a touchdown. But take away the like almost I guess it was a 70-yard, 60-yard, 80-yard interception for a touchdown. Georgia doubled the yardage that Alabama had um, in the fourth quarter. And it was just um, I don't know how much you can read up into it or whatever you want to say, but if anybody thought that coming into the game that the thing would be decided in the third and fourth quarter, Georgia outscored Alabama 27-9 in the fourth quarter in the second half. Now, how many teams have done that to Alabama? And will we see this more in the future? That is a good question. I'm not sure, we know the answer to this. Alabama's just not just going to roll over and die. I think we all know that. And Nick, being the best coach in college football history, is not just going to let his program wither away. But the ramifications from that win and that fourth quarter. Alabama had the lead going into the half. This is only the second time in their meetings that Alabama's had the lead going into the half. So is the second half of this game a game changer for the programs? I don't know, but heading into that halftime, I was pretty convinced that although I picked Georgia to win the game, I was pretty convinced that Alabama was going to win it just because Georgia just couldn't shake free at all. I mean, they were the better team coming into the game. They proved it by the end of the game, but they just couldn't get out of their own way. But really dominating Alabama 27-9 in a second half or any stretch of time. I mean, we saw Auburn do that to Alabama, but to see Georgia do it was a little bit different, ball game for me. I'll put it to you that way. I just thought that it was such an important time, and it won Georgia the national championship, as it turns out. And when you go back and look at the fourth quarter, Alabama comes in trailing uh, 13-9, I believe it is, and they come down to the first drive of the fourth quarter, and they get down to the 3-yard line, and they cannot get in. It was first and goal from the 5. Robinson for 2 yards. Nope. Incomplete pass. I'm getting confused here. I'm sorry. Yeah, incomplete pass, then Robinson, then another incomplete pass. They didn't go anywhere. And Quay Walker, Lewis Seen, Keely Ringo, they were all trouble for Alabama when they got down there tight into the end zone. And then Georgia on the next drive um, is when this is so Georgia takes a 13-12 lead, and that's when the Stetson Bennett fumble. I don't know how that was a fumble, and the Bryce Young at the beginning of the game was not. I mean, like I thought they both were fumbles, but anyway. So then Alabama gets that ball and drives it down to take score a touchdown. Their only touchdown of the game, with a interesting pass interference non-call there, but it was what it was. And then from that moment forward, the game was all Georgia. Stetson Bennett touchdown all the way to A.D. Mitchell. Alabama goes backwards, a 3-and-out, -2 yards on a 3-and-out. Next play, Georgia with the Brock Bowers touchdown. Not next play, but the next drive. And then the drive after that was Keely Ringo touchdown. I mean, 3 straight scores from Georgia, 2 offensively and 1 defensively. It was just too much for Alabama. So what happened? How did it turn so towards Georgia? Now, look, this is something we talk about in DAWGSTRUCTION below. Just the character of this team, the way they were built. Um, Nothing was too big for them. They grasped the moment when it was there. The touchdown to A.D. Mitchell probably changed the game in Georgia. Well, as it turns out, it did, give Georgia the lead for good, 19-18. Didn't necessarily feel like that at the time, but then the defense came straight out, punched Alabama in the mouth. First play of that drive, negative 2 yard loss, and then Bryce Young, incomplete. The incompletion, the breakup on 3rd and 13, 3rd and 12 by William Poole of Slade Bolton, that was a big play in Georgia's game. I mean, that was a big, 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 big play because Alabama could have come down and taken the lead again. Instead, they had to punt, and then I don't know how many, 7 plays later or something like that, Georgia comes down and scores a touchdown, and they were just hammering them with the run game. And everything we talk about in DAWGSTRUCTION, again, make sure you're getting your book now because the order is going to be sent to the publisher shortly with how many books that we need. And if you don't get in right now, you're going to miss out. So I'm expecting y'all to get your orders in tonight, big day, Sunday, so that I can get you those books by the end of February, early March. All right. You don't want to wait a lot longer than that. This is a really cool book. I'm going to have some samples here soon. But that drive with about half the fourth quarter gone, James Cook, 4 yards. Zamir, 7. Zamir, 5. Zamir, 7. They were tired. Alabama was tired. You could see it. On the field, you could tell. I was like, hey, they just needed to keep on going. And then they took a big shot to George down the field. That would have been a touchdown. Instead, a smart play by the Alabama defender with a pass interference, which certainly would have been a touchdown. And then Zamir again, 7 yards, boom. And that's when you really felt like Georgia had taken the game over. But, the next play, they don't get a first down. And then Stetson to Brock Bowers, who was wide open, as it turns out, for the score. And 26-18, I didn't think the game was over, but it felt like Alabama was in some real trouble. But what Nick was saying was true. I mean, just go back. I still have not watched the game on television, and I will do that at some stage when I can catch my breath. But the biggest thing was they forced Alabama into really bad situations. I mean, like even the next drive after that, Alabama gets to a 3rd and 4 immediately off the bat. Bryce Young just cannot get going, and then 3 straight incompletions, one of which was an interception to Keely Ringo for 79-yard touchdown. It was too much for Alabama, and a lot will change going into 22. But Georgia's won the national championship now. Will that seed of doubt creep into future games if there are future games? I mean, we heard for a long time about how Georgia and Clemson were going to play in the playoff. That's never happened. And for whatever reason, and everybody assumed that Clemson and Alabama would play forever, which is like the dumbest thing ever. That doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. So we don't know what we don't know. I mean, it could be Texas A&M starts to become a real issue in the West. It could be that LSU becomes that, but I'm going to continue to assume that it's going to be Alabama, and I'm going to continue to assume for now that it will be Georgia from the East, just because of the structure of the team, the program, how much further they are in front of everybody else in the East. It feels like, although Kentucky has had some really good seasons lately, Florida will rebuild and will be back. But Georgia's on a different level, just like Alabama is, and I think Ohio State is. And will it matter that fourth quarter? Because did it matter that Georgia lost in 17 and 18? I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure I really buy that as much because by the time 20 rolled around, they had lost 3 straight games to Alabama, but there were 3 different teams, 6 different teams really, that took the field those 3 times. So I'm not sure how much I buy into that, but for Georgia, they've shown they can beat Alabama. They've shown they can win the national championship. They've shown that they can dominate a fourth quarter. They've shown that many times, actually. Often this season, the second quarter has been Georgia's fourth quarter. So I am curious to see how this moves on. Georgia did kick their ass in the fourth quarter, but they should have kicked their ass a little bit earlier in the game. I mean, it was there. But just a bad start from Georgia. But Stetson, and a lot of that was Stetson, but he certainly picked it up as the game went on, and deserved to be the MVP of the game. But I think collectively speaking, Georgia just outplayed Alabama in a significant way. Now, if you put the 79-yard touchdown in there, that's another that would put the yardage around 207 to 61. Alabama just doesn't get beat like that. Certainly not in the fourth quarter of games that are like this one. Maybe a blowout game to Ole Miss where Mississippi scores 2 scores late or something. This was not like that. And I think that's the thing to watch is, does this have lasting impact on these two programs? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, we can't know for sure, any one thing about a result from a game. I mean, it's just one game. It mattered a lot, but we'll just see where it goes from here. All right, make sure you're getting the book. It's important to get it now because the second order is going to take me longer to get to y'all. All right, we'll see you over on the website. You can click it right down below.